Good morning, guys. Earlier this week we talked about the deepest diving mammal. That was the cuvier's beaked whale. It was able to dive as deep as 3,000 feet and hold its breath for 222 minutes. That was amazing. Now, humans are mammals too, but we can't dive nearly as deep or hold our breath as long, or can we? We break some of the rules. Our lung capacity is not as great, and our squishy little bodies would get crushed at really deep depths, but this is what we have been able to do. The deepest dive by a scuba diver was Ahmed Gab, and he dove to a little over 1,000 feet deep. He had scuba tanks with him, containers of compressed oxygen that would allow him to breathe without having to hold his breath. Even so, the pressures his body was experiencing at that depth were incredible. While you're sitting here in your room, your pressure on your body from the atmosphere, the weight of the air pressing down on you, is about 14.7 pounds per square inch. That's what's pressing onto your body. Where he went, deep below the surface of the ocean at 1,090 feet deep, he had pressures over 400 pounds per square inch on his body. For most people, that would be enough to collapse your lungs. We've talked a lot about air pressure, but water pressure and air pressure are really the same phenomenon. The higher altitude you go, the further apart those air particles are spaced, and the air is less dense. When things are spread apart, we're talking about it being less dense. The less dense it is, the less pressure you have pressing on your body. The further down you go, the more those particles are squished together, and there's more pressure, there's greater pressure on your body. Now, if you get into the water, suddenly you start to notice it because it's a significant jump in pressure from the air pressure that you're experiencing. Going deep into the water is actually quite dangerous. The pressures down there can crush a person. The deepest place in the ocean is the Mariana Trench. So the Mariana Trench is about halfway between Japan and Australia. So somewhere right about here, between Japan and Australia, there's the Mariana Trench. This is a great big hole in the ground where under the ocean it goes 7 miles deep. At that depth, the pressure is 16,000 pounds per square inch. To get down there, we use a type of submarine called a submersible. And this is a machine that is built to withstand the great pressures. You don't want to have anything cracked. You don't want the walls to cave in a little bit, because once they cave in, you would be crushed by the pressure of the water. And there's so much we don't know about the Mariana Trench because it is so deep. It has been so little explored. There are life forms down there that we go down there and we're like, what is that? I can't imagine what that is. So strange. This week, China broke their national record for diving into the Mariana Trench. They dove down to a depth of 35,790 feet. Now that's the deepest for China. An American, Victor Vescovo, someone who has a lot of money for exploring, dove to a depth of 35,849 feet. So when the Chinese went diving into the Mariana Trench, they weren't looking for new forms of life. They're looking for mining resources. One thing that is necessary for the life we live today is something called rare earth elements. On the periodic table, this row right here are the rare earth elements. These are elements that we use in all of our latest batteries and phones, things that you really rely on every single day. If we didn't have them, our world would be a different place. Everyone around the world is looking for where can we find more of these, and mining them on the bottom of the sea floor is something we've considered for a long time, but being able to withstand the pressures of going down there is something we haven't quite engineered comfortably yet. So we're working on it. That's one of the reasons why China and other countries around the world are trying to figure out the science and the engineering solving the problem of diving deep. Think about what criteria would be necessary for a successful dive to the bottom of the ocean. How about diving to the bottom of the ocean, seeing what you were looking for, and not being crushed by the pressures? That would be the simple criteria of a successful dive. Now, the constraints on that would be significant. Constraints would be needing to have enough air when you're going down there, needing to be able to withstand the pressures when you're going down there. Those are the constraints. Check out these links to learn a little bit more about the bottom of the ocean and diving. Have a great day, guys.